Hello. I'll try to speak loud because I'm not used to doing the videos and I don't particularly enjoy them, to tell you the truth. I'm sorry if my speech is not quite so great today. I'm just going to ramble a bit again. I have nothing planned, but this is just really my own personal discoveries of what the world and our environment around us is like now. Now, I think that our environment now around us is so artificial for us. We're not meant to really be living any of the way that we're actually living. I don't think. This is my conclusion after many, many years and living the way most people live for many, many years. I think we've got it all wrong. Me even speaking into the mobile phone is probably not how I should be communicating, but it's all there is now, so that's what we have and we're stuck with unless we decide otherwise. And I can't see people deciding away from the environment that they seem to have accepted, chosen. They even seem to enjoy it. I know I do too sometimes, but whether it is actually a great benefit to us, it might be a benefit in some ways, but in many ways I feel that it is not beneficial in the long term. What I'm trying to say is I think we live in a very artificial world, and it is more so that way every year that has gone by. Every single year we move further away from nature and from our true origins into a more artificial world. Now, a lot of people see this as desirable and as progress. It's not for me to say that they're wrong, because that is their privilege to think, or to at least assume that they're thinking that way. I actually would doubt that any of us are really thinking totally for ourselves anyway, because we have so much information put in front of us. We're almost overloaded with information. And it's all of an artificial nature. We get it through technology. We don't get it through our own observation, our own direct observation. Now, that seems to be necessary in this world. But I personally don't think that makes it your world, really. It is the world that you think you're living in when you choose to let information in that you yourself are not actually experiencing. That isn't to say that even what you might experience may still have a wrong perception, because I've certainly personally experienced some of the stuff that I would see through my computer type of thing. I have personally experienced it. I choose to dismiss it as part of my reality, but that would perhaps reinforce that the technological reality is true. I don't think it matters whether it's true or not. I do not think that, I'm not going to go into that, because I don't think it's for me to say what is true in the world or what is true for other people. I'm saying that I choose to dismiss it. Now, that's each individual's choice, whether they choose to incorporate that world into their being or not. That goes for anything, I suppose. I'm now saying that we shouldn't incorporate anything mentally or physically into our being as it is. But that is, and you'll have to think about that, because it is a very, I suppose you could say, profound. I certainly find it that way myself, even though I'm saying it. But what I am saying is that the human being on its own, just on its own, with nothing at all, nothing added in any way, physically, mentally, psychologically. In my opinion, I know it's all been corrupted and it's all not how it should be, but in my opinion, that is the correct state, the perfect state. Now, this is so far away from where we are now, because we have evolved, supposedly evolved, to a more aware era, time, where we have so much more communication, we have so much more information, supposedly. As I've said, I think I've said it before, I do not believe that that is the case. I think we have devolved, not evolved. I think we are now this is only my view, my opinion, and I'm sure most people would disagree, and I wouldn't blame them, because I would probably have seen us, if I look back through history, I would probably have in the past have seen that we have evolved in certain ways or progressed. I now think we have not progressed at all. We have devolved in every single way. That is a profound statement, I will say that, and I wouldn't think there would be very many people that would agree with it. And I'm not happy to say it myself, and I speak from personal experience too, because I would say from the day that I was born right up till very recently, I would say instead of making progress through my life, everything has been a step backwards. In fact, every time, the old saying, every time I have made a step forward, it's always been 2 steps backwards. And I think that is how the human being most human beings on this planet are. I'm not saying there aren't some that have evolved and have, been able to stay in their natural state, but I think there would be very few, and I certainly haven't been one of them. All I'm saying is that I'm aware of my separation from how things should be, that all of a sudden I say, hey, this is not how I am meant to be. And yes, over a lifetime, because I'm not very young, I have not progressed psychologically. Physically, at some point, maybe I was doing all right, but even that now is going down. But I don't actually put that due to myself so much. I put that more due to, I think that's more the world we live in. We live in an environment that's not always healthy, you know what I mean? And we try our best to, eat well and all that sort of stuff, but it's pretty hard, because the human body is not functioning at a very good level, and that's just because I think that, like I say, I think because we have moved so much away from nature and from our natural kind of thing, that we're now creating an artificial body, which, that will be the way of the future, an artificial type body. And, I'm saying that that will be good for some people, or, well, as good as what it can be. I mean, there again, to me, I think you're talking about the difference between something that could have been really superior, the best that it could possibly be, as to something that functions at a lower level. That's just my opinion too, but I think that is the options that are only there now because of the separation from our natural way, our natural nature, etc. And, so that means that we now think in terms of artificially as opposed to naturally keeping our body going and enhancing it, etc., and progressing. The human body was meant to evolve and progress naturally, I think, but it has not. And so then you have a lot of deterioration of the body. Like my body should not be in the state that it's in. It should have got better over the years. Instead, it's got worse and worse. And I believe that is also true psychologically, mentally. And no doubt what I'm saying here now, some people will say, well, yeah, she's proving that point. We think she's talking rubbish. So psychologically, yes, she has deteriorated. Because I think if you start to think like that, I think it can be a bit hard to, I know for myself, it's very hard to acknowledge that instead of progressing, you've deteriorated. And I think that unless we actually accept that, we will either go along an artificial line, which is not how we were meant to evolve, I don't think, at all, and or we just continue to deteriorate. And that's only my view. But some people would not see that at all because they would say, hey, we're making advances this way and that way. Now, I mean, is it, like most people would say, oh, if there's a physical problem and you can replace it with a synthetic substance, something artificial, that is good, might even be better than the natural product. That's how people are seeing things. I do not think that, but that's how people see it, and I'm sure there are so many examples where people could sort of show me and say, hey, look, that dear little child can't hear too well, so science gives them an artificial appliance to rectify that damage. That I can understand. What I'm saying is that damage should never have been there. It should never be there. No child should be born with defects. Hold on, I'm getting a problem here, I think. Phone is running out of space and the performance remove redundant files properly.